Right now, somewhere under your feet, in the dark, something impossible is happening. A seed is buried in the soil. No light reaches it. It has no eyes, no brain, no nerves, not a single cell you could call a thought. And when it went into the ground, nobody was careful about which way up it landed. It could be lying on its side. It could be flipped completely upside down. And yet, within a few days, that seed will do something you could not do if you were buried blindfolded in the dark. It will send a root straight down, and it will push a shoot straight up. Not most of the time, every single time. So how does it know which way is up? Stop and think about what that actually takes. The seed has to measure the direction of gravity itself, an invisible force. No color, no sound, no smell, nothing to grab onto. And then it has to aim two different parts of its own body in two opposite directions at the same moment. Down for the root, up for the stem. And it has to be right on the very first try, because a root that grows the wrong way will starve, and a shoot that digs deeper will never reach the light and never eat. There is no second chance. There is no map. There is just a tiny dry seed, in the dark, solving a problem of physics that most adults couldn't solve without a compass. This is one of the oldest puzzles in all of botany. And the first person to really chase it down is a name you already know. In 1880, Charles Darwin, yes, that Darwin, published a book with his son Francis called The Power of Movement in Plants. And most of it was them doing something almost comically simple. They grew seedlings and they messed with them. They tilted them. They lit them from strange angles. And they watched, for hours, how the plants bent. But one experiment mattered more than all the others. They took the root of a young seedling and they covered the very tip of it. Just the tip, a cap, a few millimeters long. And that root, with its tip covered, lost its sense of direction. It kept growing, but it stopped bending downward. It didn't know which way was down anymore. When they left the tip bare, the root bent toward gravity perfectly. Cover the tip, and the whole ability vanished, which meant something strange. The part of the root that was doing the bending was not the part that was sensing gravity. The tip was sensing. The region behind it was bending. Somehow, the tip was feeling which way was down and then sending a message back up to tell the rest of the root what to do. A plant passing a message to itself, in the dark. Darwin had found the sense. He just couldn't see the machine behind it. To find that, you have to shrink down, past what any eye can see, into a single cell in the tip of that root. And there, you find the answer. Little stones. Not real stones, but inside certain special cells in the root tip, there are tiny, heavy grains, packed full of starch. They are denser than everything around them, and because they are heavier than the fluid they sit in, they do the only thing heavy things can do. They fall. They sink to the bottom of the cell and settle in a little pile at the lowest point. Scientists call them statoliths, gravity stones. Now flip the whole seed over and watch what happens inside that cell. The grains come loose, they tumble, and they settle again on the new bottom. Turn the seed on its side and they slide to whichever wall is now facing down. They are a snow globe. They always end up at the low point, no matter how the seed is turned. And wherever they pile up, that is the direction of down. The cell feels where the little stones are resting, and that tells it which way gravity is pulling. This idea, that plants sense gravity with sinking grains of starch, was first proposed all the way back in 1900, independently, by two botanists in the same year, Gottlieb Haberlandt and Bohumil Niemek. More than a century later, it is still the best explanation we have. But knowing which way is down is only half the problem. The cell that feels the stones is not the cell that grows, so the message still has to travel. And here is where the plant does something genuinely clever. The messenger is a hormone called auxin. Think of it as the plant's growth signal. Wherever it pools, it changes how fast that side of the plant stretches. And when a root or a shoot gets tipped sideways, the plant physically pumps its auxin toward the lower side. It has special proteins, called PIN proteins, that act like little valves, and they swing around to point the auxin flow downward, toward the ground. So auxin builds up on the low side. And now watch the trick. In the shoot, the part heading for the sky, that pool of auxin on the lower side makes those cells grow faster. One side stretches, the other doesn't, and the shoot curls upward, away from the ground. But in the root, the exact same pool of auxin does the exact opposite. Roots are so sensitive to auxin that too much of it slows growth down. So the low side of the root grows slower, the top side keeps stretching, and the root curls downward into the earth. Same stone, same signal, same hormone pooling in the same place, and it drives the root down while it drives the shoot up. One mechanism pointing two parts of the plant in two opposite directions at once. That idea, auxin gathering on the low side to steer the bend, is called the Cholodny-Went model, named for the two scientists who landed on it separately in the 1920s. And the beautiful part is how fast it all runs. Lay a sprouting seed on its side, and the little stones inside resettle within minutes. Within a few hours, you can watch the root visibly hook back downward and the shoot swing back up, correcting course, chasing the center of the earth and the open sky. The plant is constantly checking, constantly adjusting. It never stops asking which way is down. So how do we know it's really the gravity that matters and not something else? You take the gravity away. Scientists have grown seeds on the International Space Station, in orbit, where nothing falls and there is no clear down at all. Two researchers, Annalisa Paul and Robert Furl, sent tiny mustard plants up to grow in that weightless silence. And without gravity to pull the little stones to one side, the roots lost their confident straight line. They wandered. They skewed and curled in strange, searching patterns, reaching for other clues, a hint of moisture, a trace of light, anything to replace the one signal they had lost. Take away the falling stones, and the seed genuinely forgets which way is up. And here's the part that should give you a small chill. That trick, heavy little stones that fall and tell a living thing which way is down, you are using it right now. Deep inside each of your ears, behind the parts that hear, there are tiny crystals sitting on a bed of sensitive hairs. They are called otoliths, ear stones. And when you tilt your head, they slide, and they pull on those hairs, and that is how your brain knows which way is up without looking. It is the same solution. Falling stones, read by a living cell. The seed in the soil and the person reading this sentence are running the same ancient piece of code. A dry little seed, with no eyes and no brain, buried in the dark, measures the pool of the entire planet with a handful of starch grains, and never once gets it wrong. Which leaves one strange question hanging. When that seed turns its root toward the center of the earth, is it actually sensing anything at all? Or is it just physics, grains falling, chemicals pooling, with nobody home, no knowing involved? I genuinely go back and forth on it. Tell me where you land in the comments, because I think the answer says a lot about what knowing even means. We get curious about the stuff nobody thinks to ask. Subscribe and feed your idle curiosity.